Welcome to the tournament. We're so pleased to have you here. World number one, 14 wins, 53 top tens, much more. It's been a great year for you.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing last 3 years on tour. I've been fortunate about the things that have happened so far in my career. But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun and a lot of great memories. And I feel like there's always going to be those ups and downs, but luckily for me, there's been a lot of highs. But I think there's still a lot of aspects of my game that that can improve. So it's always great that you're always working towards something and working to get better at something, because there always is.
And a new coach for you. What made you choose Gary?
Actually, before I went to see David, I actually had seen Gary once before, so I'd seen David once and then Gary, and then at the end I decided to go and work with David. But because I had that time where I had seen him before, I kind of knew what his styles were like, and I talked to a few of his players, and especially Shan. She said he's very simple, and it's a very natural thing. So those are the kind of things that I was looking for. So ended up being good, and hopefully it was the right decision. But for now I'm happy with the progress that we've made.
And what are you working on with him? Anything in particular?
Wouldn't really rip the swing apart. And especially, I know it's off season, but we don't really have a long time where we're going from something and making it to a totally different thing. But we changed the setup, and I think the setup itself helped to I guess make my takeaway a little bit differently, and I think those were the big things. But it's all about the basics. If you have the right grip, it's hard to get off from a square club face at the top. So we've been doing small things, and always we always have habits, and I have some quick hips when I come in my downswing. So those are the things that we're going to continue to work on, I think, throughout my career, not only just for this moment.
And you're using some new wedges, I believe. When Michelle Wee came in, she said that she'd changed clubs, and it was really quite hard to move from something that to something new. Are you finding that?
It's actually been a really exciting, and I think it's been a pretty smooth, progress. I know I had great clubs before, but the clubs that I'm hitting now, I think they're amazing. And I think I'm getting a lot of good spin on my wedges, and I think I'm getting a few extra yards with the driver, and that's always a good thing for those aspects of the clubs. But it's been great, and PXG, I think the slogan is like, nobody makes clubs like we do, period. And I think that's what I feel like it's been happening. The irons are really forgiving, so and all my clubs are black, and I said, even before I hit it, it looks good. So, like, if I hit it good, that's even better. So, it's been great. And actually, even though there's been a lot of changes, I don't think I've ever been this excited to come off from, a break of December and, get back into training and get back into, preparing for the season.
Terrific. Questions, please.
Lydia, it gets pretty windy around Royal Adelaide, so how much of a factor do you think that will be?
Yeah, that's what I've noticed the past few days. I think Sunday was the windiest day. I obviously couldn't get out on the course on that day, but hitting it on the range, the balls were like almost 90 degrees going either way. But today was a little different with a different wind direction. I heard that. Today was kind of on the northerly side, and the past few days it's been on the south. So, the course play is totally different. Like, this direction makes the par fives a little shorter, maybe more reachable, and the other way, the par fours may not play as long. And 18th is a key example where I hit I hit 8-iron into the green on the first time I played, and today I was hitting a knockdown 5-iron. So, because of the wind and a lot of bunkering and fescue on the grass, I think you need to be wise, and sometimes driver isn't necessarily the club to hit off the tees.
And for you, what would be the key this week? It's a different course from the one you played last year.
Yeah, the Grange and here at Royal Adelaide is definitely a different setup, a different look. But I think for me is I'm pretty sure it will be breezy the next few days, and to be smart and to be able to use the wind and not try to fight it. And keeping on the fairways is huge here because it's not very friendly outside the short stuff. Yeah.
Mark?
Lydia, you've been number one for approaching 20% of your life, probably, I suppose. Do you feel the pressure of Aria and others coming at you?
I think last year we had 9 first-time winners on tour, and it just shows the amount of talent level. I mean, Aria had a pretty spectacular year. I think winning 5 times and getting her first 3 wins, 3 in a row. It was month of May for May, and it's great to see the amount of talent, and I think it kind of makes every one of us work harder and to say, hey, we're not the only one out here, and obviously you're trying to play the best you can, but it's just great because we feed off each other, and this way I think we can learn from each other, and I think that's a great way to be, and because of this great competition and the great fields we have, it's a way to grow the game and grow the women's golf, which is very important, and I think the women's game has gone a lot more popular, and we've had so many great role models that have kind of set the path. So I think everyone on tour, we're trying to do the same, and for the next generations coming up, the tour will be even in a better place than when we found it.
Lydia, how did Aria respond to the fact that you now have her coach as well?
I guess we haven't talked really deeply about it, but I played with Mo and May yesterday, and we Gary, instead of him saying he normally instead of saying good shot, he says it's 100%, and we were joking about it with Yanni too, and actually when I was in Orlando, I played with Paula, Yanni, and Shen Shen, and we're all with Gary, and I think it's great. I think it just shows what kind of a coach Gary is, and at the same time it gives trust to me, trying to see what he's done with these girls. But it's fun, and that way we can play matches. And we said, I think Mo and me are going to be a team, and May and Yanni is going to be a team, and we're going to have a match against each other.
And how does he fit in the time for all of those players?
I don't know how his schedules work, but I'm sure he tries to make time for everyone. But you'd have to ask him that question, not me.
To extend on to what Mark said, was it harder? What's the hardest mentally, getting to the top or staying at the top?
I think probably maintaining. I've been fortunate to be able to be in this position first of all, and obviously it takes a lot of hard work, and I think luck at the same time, and things that some things are really out of your control, but I try and not think of it as, hey, everyone's trying to chase me. When we're out there, we're not thinking about what ranked player she is to me or what I am. And I think that's important to not get carried away about the awards, the rankings, because at the end of the day, we're all golfers trying to make as many birdies as we can, and hopefully, hold the trophy at the end of that week. And I think that's the mindset I've been trying to take it, and to me, I think I feel more self-pressure rather than pressure from others, and just because you're world number one, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to win every week. I wish I could, but no, it's unrealistic. We all have these ups and downs, but those downs, we can learn from it, and hopefully get better from that. And I think the down bits and the failures are just as important or more important than the successes, because you can learn a lot from those.
Just a bit of a tangent off your All Black wedges. You normally come here and you rock some advice from, pardon me, Israel or one of your All Black mates. Have you got anything this week? Have you been home much this summer?
I was home last week for a few days, but I kept myself very busy. We had the New Zealand Open Media Day, so a lot of excitement there. With I guess the world's best golfers, coming down under, not only here but back at home too. And I think it's a great having these two tournaments. Will make more juniors come into the game of golf. And I said both Australia and New Zealand, we have such amazing facilities, and if we can take advantage of that and more juniors can take up the game, I think that's a great way to start. So I think having these couple events here in the Pacific, I think is great, and it's always nice to go back home and see my friends.
Did you see any of your All Blacks?
No, I wasn't able to see Izzy. I think he was actually in Brisbane, to my knowledge, but I don't know. He's, we couldn't get the times right.
Lydia, obviously the Australian Open is not a major championship on the LPGA, but it is a national open, a national championship. How much would winning this tournament mean to you as a golfer? I mean, do you rate it pretty high up on, your wish list?
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate enough to have won at Royal Melbourne a couple of years ago, and it was probably, I think, one of probably the best tournament I played, and especially around a track like that, and I guess having that background of growing up in New Zealand, I've always Australia was one of the countries that I came over to play some amateur golf, and that's how I got to know girls like Minji and Sue, and I think the golf courses here are amazing, and people on the other side of the world don't realize what an amazing place Australia and New Zealand is. So definitely to be able to be in contention last year, and for the Australian fans to be really supportive, even though we have that rivalry. I think we're the closest countries, and nothing will get in between that. So it's definitely a tournament that if I'm holding a trophy at the end of Sunday, I'd be very proud of. And it's a great place, and like again here, it's a great track, and for the person that's winning, they would have played some amazing golf.